Hello, friends. It's Giuliano coming at you with another weekly roundup. It's a Saturday and it's the end of April. In fact, we'll get that monthly roundup going as well for the next one. But here we have a weekly roundup, and we're going to finish off, part two. Last time, if you didn't check it out, check out the part one. And if you're watching this, let me know. Hit the like button so that I know you're out there. Make a comment and all that good stuff. We went through all of these ones last time, so take a look. And now we'll start with Monero and go through Ethereum, Ripple, XRP, Link, and all them. So let's check a look. We'll end off with the BTC. And, we're colored today with some dumping, but the weekly candles are not done yet. So we'll see, but nevertheless, we had that turnaround last week, a big move up, touched the Ichimoku cloud, now all the way back down, back to the long-term downtrending resistance. So we'll see how the interaction plays there, but not much to say currently. This is the weekly price charts as well. There could be some slowing of momentum and just some fading for now. This was also at previous support, now resistance. So let's add that to our chart and something like that. Let's just bring it to you there. There's Monero. Yeah, previous support turning resistance. There you are. Okay. Well, we'll see. Next, we're out of there. We are looking at Ethereum. Remember, these are BTC price charts, eh? So Monero against BTC, Ethereum against BTC. On the weekly time frame, we're at a high level. We're at this previous cluster here of price action, and we have an Ichimoku cloud below it. And down here is 200-week moving average, which would be basically a support zone potentially, which is previous resistance levels here, and this cluster here, and resistance here, that type of level stuff here. So interesting. We'll see where this price goes, but you're so far so good. You're still, let's zoom in here, still remaining above this 20-week moving average, but it could break, and then in which case, we're looking towards this lower end down here as your first level. So we'll see, but you're getting some bigger green candles on the way up, smaller red ones on the way down. That's usually a good sign. But momentum wise, looks like you might turn over a little bit, and just keep playing that out. But this hidden bearish divergence continuing here. So we're going to see if that means you're getting a bigger negative momentum again to continue the hidden bearish divergence, or you could potentially make some bullish divergence if the price goes lower into this cloud region or lower end of the Bollinger Band, making a lower low than this, but your let's say the histogram doesn't go as low, and you get to make a divergence there, and it would be a bullish divergence. Let's say the price makes lower low. You probably are aware of divergences. So either way, we have potential for divergence, but that would be needing the price to go lower. And we also have the potential to maintain the hidden bullish divergence that's already on this chart from the price going up and the histograms going down. But that would mean we'd need even more negative momentum, bigger histograms here. And that I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. If that doesn't happen, though, either way, if the price stays above and makes a higher low, like you're in a very good position. regardless, you can have bullish convergence here if the momentum indicator follows the same way. If you have less deep of a histogram, you know, and the price doesn't go as low, it makes a higher low here. Great, you know, you're on a bullish convergence, and you keep going higher. I mean, there you go. At least of them all, of course, unsurprisingly, Ethereum is showing the potential to maintain this whole level here. You got this Ichimoku cloud, lower end of Bollinger Band. So very big danger if you break below this Ichimoku cloud and have to find support at the 200. It's gonna be a long recovery probably at that point. Precarious. Okay, well, we'll see. Luckily, these are ETH BTC price charts. So if ETH USD needs to be a certain level and Bitcoin is dumping, then you know this will correlate to the upside in order to maintain the higher dollar level or whatever. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now about Ethereum, but it's also just about Bitcoin price charts against the altcoins. And so in that sense, this level could hold even if Bitcoin's fluctuating against USD, because then Ethereum USD will fluctuate as necessary again based on what BTC is doing, and then you have your ETH BTC here to show us that. So we'll see. Anyway, it'll be interesting in a few weeks, 4 to 6 weeks here, to see what happens. Yeah. Well, now we're more like 5 weeks, really. We'll get there when we get to Bitcoin, but if we look at some time analyses. Yeah, we'll take a look as we go along. So let's take a look at XRP. Oof, well, yeah, big dumpage this week. Last week we broke back below the 20-week moving average, and now you're at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. You're at the important support level. So not sure what is going to happen from here. Already starting some of that negative momentum. So we'll see. I mean, it doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be for a long time, but let's see what happens with the price action over here. It's definitely not looking like, here's the thing, it could just be part of the whole sideways action. You know, this whole price action here, yeah, there's some big ups and some big downs relatively, and it's just a lot of sideways chopping action here at this level. So we'll see, but it is currently challenging this level. Let's see what happens after it's all said and done. XRP not going to the upside just yet, but they do say buy red, sell green. Speaking of red, we are dumping below currently. Quite below this important previous support zone. So yeah, that's bearish for Link against BTC. And if we take time analysis from the lows, let's call it to the highs. Well, we're almost 1-to-1. You might want to argue down here so we can pull it there, in which case we start looking at April of 2023 as your 1-to-1. So it'll be interesting. Maybe some of these altcoins will take another year before they are done their bear market against BTC, their correction against BTC to the downside, correction to the downside bear market. We'll see. That's not necessarily the case, but if we're going low price to high price and just get a sense of it, well, that's the kind of timing you get, is out into 2023, April. All right, that's Chainlink, bearish. Next level is down here, according to this price level, but it's more so this one down here that we're looking at more significantly at this point. Yep. All right, BNB, can you be the one that is holding up like Ethereum? Although, I mean, I can't say Ethereum is particularly holding up against Bitcoin, neither is BNB. However, relatively it is. Like this one is just, if we look at it, it's compared to Ethereum, it's similar, except this red candle is body is below the 20-week moving average already. So getting some pausing, some slowing down here, some weakness, rejecting at the 20-week moving average. So possibly coming back down towards this level eventually, and maybe you're strong enough to get support here in between. If you have the option to move higher, you know, maybe BNB, I don't know. It all depends on the MACD histogram, sorry, MACD signal lines and the histogram, of course, but the MACD and signal lines, are they going to go below the zero line? Or are they somehow going to stabilize above? So in that case, we're looking at a turnover. We're looking for them to turn over and then turn down and then find something. But wow, this also would take us to May, April of 2023. That's where that time zone is. So I don't know. Otherwise, I mean, I guess it's possible to try and stay above the zero for sure if you're going to be strong enough. Anyway, let's see what kind of histogram gets built here. Let's see if it can make a bullish cross even for a moment. At least that will be a slowing down maybe of, but you might already have that. Might already have that in this BNB price chart. You might already have slowed down that momentum, and now you're coming back to the downside again, possibly. Look, you got this big Ichimoku cloud here. So far, so good. You and Ethereum, you've got your clouds below you if you're BNB. So yeah, you definitely don't want that breaking down below the cloud and then coming to this 200-week moving average. Now, having said that, that's this price cluster here, and then this previous resistance would be supporting. So that's super bullish if that does hold. Don't get me wrong, that's amazingly strong and bullish, but even stronger would be to stay above the Ichimoku cloud for as much time as it needs and then go higher. So currently, yeah, I mean, currently the relationship between the move up and the move sideways is probably much bigger. So I don't know. Actually, you know what? You're not quite there yet, but you're nearing the limits here of like 1 to 3. Technically, you could get longer than that, but 1 to 3 seems pretty reasonable. 1/3 at minimum, or 3 times at most in terms of relationship there. So, okay, nearing it, but you've you know, ultimately though, you broke below this uptrending momentum here, and you broke below, and then you came back up and you rejected around that 20-week moving average, around that, at that uptrending, well, it's now resistance, was support, now resistance. So it's going to take time. So I do see the price coming into this area. But the big question is, are you going to break below this box and dump below the Ichimoku cloud? It'll be interesting to see for BNB. You're still, you know, this is a lower high in the macro structure. Here's the highest high. And now you're making another lower high. So at this point, I think we can throw in a trend line here. Yeah, and let's do it. And let's see how this goes towards the end of this box. Where are you going? What's going to happen? Cool, there you go, BNB. Now let's move on to Origin Trail. Some of these altcoins taking a bigger beating. Origin Trail last week was finding support at the top of this box range, but after rejection at the 20-week moving average, boom, back down. Are you going to come all the way down to this 200-week moving average down here? That's highly possible, and that would be above, just at the upper end of this previous cluster here of price action and here. So that would still be a really good, strong support if you could eventually make it. I mean, ultimately, you're going to be underneath this Ichimoku cloud, so you just got to live with that. And in terms of this trend line, I mean, you may hold here and bounce higher, but you know, who cares? It's still going to be in this zone. I guess the important thing is, will you hold above this price level, or is it going to be more so something along this price level here? Yeah, interesting. There's the, let's zoom in. And there's the 200-week moving average right there, right at this previous resistance area, resistance zone. So is that where it's going to be instead? So I don't know. We'll see if we'll keep this here just in case it does hold. Then it'll be a significant line. If it breaks down, we'll just get rid of it right away. All right, that's origin trail. Yeah, I think we're done with that. Yeah, it looks like it doesn't mind making more negative momentum, and it doesn't mind the MACD and signal lines to come down here more. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Oops. Yeah, then again, you know, it makes a big move down and then it chops. Some big move down, chop. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to be a slow bleed like this. Now, having said that, look, if this is not the level that it's going to bounce, right? And you do indeed come down to something like here, okay, or even here, like imagine you might break down below the 200-week and then reclaim it again afterwards, shortly afterwards. So you definitely could continue, you know, breaking down first and then do your chop. For sure, it's possible. And I mean, it might involve a bigger chop like that. And all the whole time you're still making a lower high compared to your previous highs. So that's possible still. We can watch this play out. Yeah, look out for these levels. I imagine this will probably break and it'll come down a little further, but you never know. All right. Okay, DERO as well, you know, it was holding up real hard, nice. Still doing pretty good, but it's getting its rejection at the top of the Ichimoku cloud. It's getting its rejection, sorry, top of the Ichimoku cloud, top of the Bollinger Band is what I mean. And also at previous important levels, okay, as we've marked out prior. And now, now we're looking at this Ichimoku cloud formation to hold as support. That's going to be important because if you can't hold that, then the price is gonna come below, and then you're down towards this lower end of the Bollinger Band, and then you might as well be coming down here. And sure, you might bounce. I don't think you get right back above though, but you never know. For sure, that's possible. But when you start breaking down here, then you might as well come to this box area. And if you do that, we've seen it happen with other charts. I mean, it could take a while. These things do that sometimes. I don't know. I hope it doesn't look like that. I hope it stays above this cloud and just keeps running higher. Okay. But the other option is you break down below, and then what? Can you get higher above? Like that would be pretty hot too, if you could get above it again afterwards. But as soon as you get below it, it's a tougher battle. Because then you have the option of, you know, making your move down. Okay, but maybe it'll be strong enough to hold this level as support. Okay, that's also possible. And so even if it breaks down, like we showed, it'll bounce, and finally, whenever the time is right, it'll make its next move. But just like a lot of the altcoins against Bitcoin, they have their tops, and some of them exceed their all-time high tops in the future at some point, and some of them they have yet to break their all-time high tops. We'll see a few of those. We've already, well, we saw Monero, we saw Ripple, we've seen already some. Okay, but this is against BTC, right? Super deflationary asset. Okay, let's get out of here. We're going to see another one. It's ICX. And it's another one where all-time high, it's not back there, that's for sure. Now, what are these going to be looking like in the future? It'll be interesting. Is this going to be the big price action move, and then everything else in future will just be small and insignificant relatively to this previous stuff? We're going to see, but right now it's clearly in a range. And if we look more closely, it's at the lower end of that range. And now it is in danger of challenging, firstly, the most recent lows. Okay, but it's in danger of challenging the prior all-time lows. You're just going to see if it'll come down to that lower end of the box again. Momentum-wise, I mean, it's just starting to turn back over into negative. You know, it's just going to make another cross, possibly bearish cross. Yeah, we're going to see, can it bounce? Can it find some support? Lower end of the Bollinger Band, lower end of this box. We shall see. Interesting. That's ICX. Okay. Now, we look at theta against BTC. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, theta also dumping, but basically, again, rejecting at the 20-week moving average. Rejecting at the 20-week moving average last week, even though green candle. And now this week, boom, dumping. Wow, there's the 200-week moving average, touching 200-week moving average. So ding, 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 ding. Theta is our winner. First to touch 200-week moving average. Other than, I don't think Link did it. Maybe Link did it already. Okay, Link was the early winner though, that's for sure. Link was definitely the early winner. So theta gets a 200-week moving average touch. Let us set this up a little more thick. Yeah, there it is. Bang. Okay, that's interesting. Also lower end of the Bollinger Band. So is theta going to make a bounce here? Are all of the alts going to bounce here? Is this going to be a bit of like a little mini capitulation? Who knows? But again, like some of the others here, theta looks like the momentum is turning over to the negative again. Histogram is going to come down, looks like it, but signal MACD looks like they're going to cross. MACD is looking like further negative momentum possibly. We'll see, but that is rough. It's definitely been chopping all the way down. All the way down. So let's see where theta can find its bounce, but no signal just as yet, other than look, 200-week moving average is a good place to get some purchases. But if you're breaking below 200-week, you could be correcting and negative price action for a long time. Yeah, well, we're gonna see. What do you got up your sleeve, theta? All right, speaking of sleeves, here is ADA. Wow, ADA is making new lows on the weekly in local time. Okay. And we are healthily at the lower end of this purple zone. And we are now at the top end of the green zone, the lower end of which is confluent with this 200-week moving average, similar like we saw on theta just now. We had this 200-week moving average. And so there it is. And we brightened it up because it is an important marker on these long-term charts, these weekly price charts, and it is level to level confluent with this previous all-time high here. Well, not all-time, sorry. Previous local high here, previous highs here, and even this support here. So there you go. Are we coming here next? It looks like it. Looks like we're coming down here to this 200-week, but that would mean a little bit of a breakdown of the Bollinger Band. So maybe it's going to bounce first for 4 weeks red. We'll see. Momentum wise, is just crossing again. MACD is crossing signal line again to bearish MACD cross. So yeah, starting to get a red histogram there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you come down here to this 200-week moving average. Having said that, if it does bounce off here, that's also not surprising either. But I mean, you're just breaking lows here. You're making lows here. I would say if you start breaking down below this box again, this yellow line, then you're probably coming down. If not, then maybe you hold this for a little bit and then we can reassess. There's ADA. It has taken the beating. Wow. Okay. That's ADA price chart. Let's, yeah, I think that's it for now with ADA. Oh, let's do a little quick time analysis here on ADA. I'll take the bottom to the top. Well, it's about 1-to-1 right now. It's coming up on it. So yeah, hey, I would expect it to be longer than that. Like 2-to-1 is in 2023. So maybe that's the case. Maybe you got another, you know, for ADA, maybe another 8 months. Whoo, 7-8 months. We'll see. Roughly. I mean, that would just be a 2-to-1. This is just a general rough marker there. So we'll see. Cool. That's ADA. Okay, then we're moving on to the final 3 here for this weekly roundup. We've got KMD. Wow, pushing all-time lows. Or is it pushing below this downtrending support? Oh, it is. Okay, this is bearish. So yeah, this previous week had a really volatile week. Look at that move, piercing above the Bollinger Band on the weekly time frame. But it was like a nothing candle right here in terms of the body. And now it's just a breakdown to the lower end of the Bollinger Band. Is the Bollinger Band going to break down to the downside? And we are in serious pursuit of this purple line, this 1,000 Satoshis mark that was carved out. I don't know when this was carved out. It was a while ago. It was always a possibility, but it was never something that was considered, you know, desirable. So yeah, but anyway, just keep making lower lows right now on KMD. So it's just altcoins are against Bitcoin are a deadly game if you don't play carefully. So there you go. There's the KMD. I mean, your lower end of the Bollinger Band, you either bounce over and back into some sort of move up, but it's too late. You've already made your low now. So is this? It's either a capitulation, which doesn't look like, it's not a high volume candle. So anyway, we'll see. But this blue line might be irrelevant at this point. All right, KMD taking another lower low, all-time low. Well, we go to the privacy by default pirate chain. And yeah, we've said all along to watch out for this 20-week moving average. But before that, you have this horizontal level here that is relating to the previous resistance, this previous resistance right here. And that's where we are now. Basically, that zone is coming up to find support. Otherwise, you got this 20-week moving average. And then after that, it's the uptrending support line there. So we will see what happens here. You're still making a lower low than the previous, sorry, lower high than the previous highs. But we have a series of higher low and then the next higher low. So 2 higher lows, which means if you can keep going and continuing a trend, that would be good. You have broken down this simple trend right here. You have broken down this simple trend right here, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Hold this 20-week moving average and you're still in the game. And that relates to this previous resistance levels here. So yeah, let's see. Just like other price charts, though, we're starting to get turnover in this momentum, this histogram complex. So we might not be seeing bullish moves up by July for the altcoins against Bitcoin, but we'll see how this all plays out. Interesting. That's Pirate Chain R against BTC, and then finally the BTC. Oh, back in the 38,000s. Bitcoin is healthily in the cloud, in the Ichimoku cloud, at the level of these candle bodies. Last week, previous week, there was an attempt higher, rejection at the 20-week moving average around the 42,000 level. And so rejection, 20-week moving average, underside, very narrow, slim candle body. And yeah, that's a number of red candles in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4. We haven't closed this 5th one, but it likely will close red. Maybe you get something green the next week, or who knows, but might as well get a nice capitulation candle, something like this, down into the zone, and then who knows what it looks like coming out of it. But we'd like a nice double bottom, create a nice double U over here. These lows move up, whatever lows you need here, move up, and then off you go to the races. That would be lovely. So either way, I mean, funny enough, although I got my thought process got chopped around in here, but long story short, we were calling the price to be around here some time ago, and it is coming here around here at this time. So it's interesting to see if you've been around since then. I mean, that's amazing. I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope it's bringing you some value. But yeah, here we are. We are at this zone of the Ichimoku cloud, and let's see what comes next. The worst possible scenario for Bitcoin in terms of strength and weakness. The weakest scenario is to break below this Ichimoku cloud. That would be terrible. Okay, I mean, you could pierce through it with a wick, but to have any significant closings down here, that would be deadly. All right, well, there's your Bitcoin price chart, still below the 20-week moving average, still within the Ichimoku cloud, and so still have the chance to turn it around. You're already in a bit of negative momentum. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be big like these. It can be small like this, positive momentum. And yeah, let's see how this goes. I'm still counting this very bullishly overall. However, having said that, it can definitely dump down here to this 20-week moving average around 23K, but especially if a lot of voices start talking about a breakdown, then I think it'll hold. If more people start talking about it holding, that'll probably be a sign that it's likely to break down. Whatever is that vocal sentiment of the crowd, it will probably do the opposite. That's my guess at this point. All right, well, and then of course, if I'm counting correctly, this thing has a flat pattern. If that applies here, then beautifully done. All right. Well, take care. I'm done for this one. I hope it served you well. Until next time, we're gonna have a monthly price charts, weekly price charts. Okay, I'm done, and I'm wishing you love, peace, and happiness. Okay, goodbye.